Yeah, please go ahead. So, Nasreen ji, we have an excellent panel here. Each one of us trying to do something, but I am told that you have done a lot of work in this sector. So, mostly we'll be learning from you while we'll be uh, trying to get some clarification on those aspects which we are not clear or which we do not have exposure to. I am Dr. W.G. Prasanna Kumar. I work with the Telangana State Pollution Control Board as a senior
Telangana
social
State
pollution control board.
Pollution
So,
Control Board. Okay.
yeah, as a senior social scientist, I've been working in environment education for the past 28 years,
Yes.
and off and on, I was out of the board. I worked with the National Council of Rural Education, promoting community engagement, experiential learning in higher educational institutions across the country for 6.5 years. So that is where I got into community engagement work. And we promoted community engagement courses in several universities in the country and experiential learning courses also in several universities in the country in either the social work programs or in education, teacher education programs, sometimes also in communication programs. So that is my link with this sector. And after my parents passed away, I started getting into the academic work relating to aging gerontology. I joined this Association of Gerontology India. Try to work through them and work with them or learn from them. And yeah, I work mostly on disaster management. Disaster management, one of the groups which is highly vulnerable is the elderly people. That's where I focus on elderly when I'm handling disaster management programs for various types of groups. I am a trainer for the state government, so which would mean that starting from IAS down to the school teachers to NGOs, I conduct programs. Every month there are 2 or 3 programs. For instance, tomorrow I have a session for 250 Apada Mitra volunteers in Medak. The total day I am engaged there. So mostly I conduct experiential learning based programs. So a lot of mock drills and demonstrations in my programs. So, and also earlier, last 4 or 5 years, I worked on social work curriculum and skilling in social work curriculum. So my interest is in skilling also. So one area where I am keen on in this gerontology is how do we skill the people who are working with elderly and both formally and informally through long-term programs as well as short-term programs. So that is my connect. And we are also bringing out a monthly newsletter called Ageless Bonds and connecting yesteryear's youth with today's youth. So that is another work which I'm doing. But otherwise, I'm inspired and trained by Saraswati ma'am and Venkat Pulla sir. And my senior, Sudarshan is my senior in the College of Social Work. And Rajeshwari ji is my colleague in the curriculum system, working on curriculum. And I was mentored by Kanta Rao ji when I did my block placement in social work. So there is a connect.
I'm losing your voice, sir.
Oh, you are losing my voice.
Yeah, if you could come closer or raise the volume.
Yeah, I will raise the voice. This is my starting trouble. That's it. So,
I think at the age of 70, some effect must be there on my hearing also. must have gone down.
I would, no, the issue, the challenge is from my side. Yep. Thank you very much. And right, uh, I would have more words. I would like to listen from you, Nasreen ji, about the contribution and the work that you are in.
Yes.
Okay. Would anybody else like to introduce themselves or say anything before I start?
You start.
If okay.
Just start?
Yes.
Okay, Saras is boss. If she says start, we have to start.
Yes.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to participate with all of you. And this whole area of elderly care actually is a very major, should I say, something that we are not preparing for fast enough. Actually, the work that we are doing now should have been done 10 years ago, maybe.
Right.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
the demography is actually increasing so fast. This demography, this age group, 65 plus. So there is no need to go too much into the figures and all that. But, it is expected that we would have a very, very large elderly population in very few years' time. And the rate of increase is actually something that is, and for us as an economy, the worry is that, in European countries, countries became developed and well-to-do before they became old. And in our case, the worry is, will we become old before we become developed? That is what is an issue. And for those countries today, even though they are developed and they have well-established social security provisions for their elderly, even so, they are finding it difficult to maintain that elderly population. They are finding it difficult to pay the pensions, actually. Because now there are less people working and more people dependent on that working population. So from last 10, 20 years, we are saying that we have a demographic dividend. 30% of our population is below the age of 30. But unfortunately, that population doesn't have jobs. There is unemployment. So on the one hand, the economy is not supporting the working population. On the other hand, the government doesn't have the money for so many social service schemes as one would want that the elderly population should be taken care of. So I suppose my first 5-10 sentences have been little dismal, not very optimistic.
Yeah. But that's the truth. So we have to face it.
It's the truth.
Yes.
And the second aspect is we have always in our country thought that socially speaking, we look after our elderly very well. We still respect our older people. And, we keep them in the family and we don't want to send them away to old people's homes. And, that respect for old age, for experience, for wisdom. But that also, actually, it is more in the thinking, not so much in the execution. So
It's an
maybe
eye-watch.
culturally, we may still be saying it. Culturally, we may still be thinking it. But the economics has changed because we have more nuclear families. Then daughters-in-law and daughters and sons all are finding it more difficult to look after the elderly. There is the economic aspect and the caregiving aspect.
Correct.
So to come to one particular point which Dr. Prasanna just mentioned, he said he's connected with training the caregivers, those who will be looking after the elderly, he said. So as with everything in our country, there is the affording population and there is the population who cannot afford. So we always have public schools, government schools where children are paying very little fees, and we have private schools where they are paying 5-7 lakh rupees a year. The most elite schools, let us say. So even if we don't look at that, we know that we have this system. We have the schools for the poor, public schools, and we have the schools for the well-off, those who can afford to pay. Similarly, for services for the elderly also, we will have to think in terms of both. Because it is more easy to develop services for those who can pay. There are people who we can train. And, in that sense, population is available. Unlike in the more developed countries where it may be difficult to find. And all over the developed world, actually, caregivers are one of the highest immigrant population that is welcomed into that country. Because Canadians themselves or UK people themselves, they don't have enough people to actually do this caregiving function. There is a shortage of people for this type of work. And the thing is that if a very good system of training caregivers is established in our country, then there is a good scope for them to work in the country and outside, both. So now I'm talking of the affording population, obviously. I don't know what the rates are in Hyderabad, but caregiving in Bombay, for example, for 12 hours shift work, a person who comes home and gives caregiving, the going rate is 1,200 rupees a day.
12,000?
1,200 rupees a day.
1,200.
And the night shift will be little higher. So 8 o'clock to 8 o'clock. So maybe in Hyderabad, it might be 300 rupees less, 400 rupees less, or something a little less. But it's still a very large amount when you think in terms of that elderly people require such a service, especially those who are not mobile. And the fact that it is not covered in Mediclaim. This service is not covered in Mediclaim. So that also is an issue actually when we are thinking of training of caregivers. We also need to work on that trajectory as to how to change the insurance provisions for the elderly. And what are the services that should get covered? So again, another very important service for the elderly is physiotherapy. And physiotherapy also is not covered in insurance.
Okay.
So, if you fall down, you have a fracture, the operation cost is one thing, the hospital cost is one thing, but all of that will not last more than 7 days. Ultimately, on the 7th or 8th day, you will be sent home. And all your recovery is dependent on physiotherapy and home caregiving. And those are the two things which are not covered at all. So this economic issue, and even for an affording person, it won't be a small amount. It will be quite difficult, actually. So in my experience, what I found is that caregiving is not just that you train the person, but the whole ecosystem also has to be prepared for how this will get executed and operated. All the environment around it also has to be looked after. The insurance, the other physical necessities that are required, all of these things, it becomes necessary to tie up all the ends, So, any reactions to what I said?
Your points about Mediclaim all not covering most of these aspects is something enlightening. never even thought about it. And also, most of the families are not too keen to spend for the seniors.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they have lived in an environment where they have continuously said, okay, let's postpone, ठीक है बाद में देखेंगे, that type of attitude. And caregivers in Hyderabad are available in abundance. There are agencies which are sending people, but many of them are not trained. Some who come from hospitals and all that, which send them, they are okay. They know when to give the medicine, what time to give the medicine, how to give this, that. And also there is a problem where the seniors also refuse an outsider to touch them or do anything for them. So it's a continuous battle that is going on between caregivers and the seniors who require care unless they don't know what's happening.
Yes.
So this is what we have been observing in many families. And the caregivers are just sitting there, and you have to supervise the caregiver if you want best service for your family member. You
Yes.
can't leave your parent with that caregiver and go for shopping or something, because that guy or woman is up to something or the other. These are these are some difficult points, which a lot of people discuss, and they're still looking for answers.
Yes.
Sanna,
Yeah.
I don't know what Sanna says.
Yeah, this is my experience is similar on similar lines with for my mother. We had to take the support of caregiver, same amount, 36,000 per each shift. So 2 shifts, 72,000 I used to pay for my mother's care. And then my mother was, of course, very frail. She was just 42 kilos or 43 kilos weight. But she had paralysis on one side. And the type of, so I had to, as Saraswati ma'am said, we had to really monitor it. In fact, we had to have this, what is that, camera system.
Yeah.
But then after a while, I felt that it is too much of bossing over or monitoring. So I didn't use it for more than 15 days, though I have installed the total system. So the point is, the professionalism of the caregiver is definitely not there. Training and orientation of it. Not apart from professionalism, also ethics. Ethically, it actually, whenever I narrate this, I'm really disturbed. The nurse who was handling my mother, one day she hit my mother so badly that my wife who was in the other room, heard the noise of somebody beating. So when my wife went into that room, she said, no, and she tried to corner her. She said, no, I have not done anything. And and my mother wouldn't say anything about it. Okay. People do not complain about caregiver at all, for the fear that they will not even have that support.
Yeah, Prasanna, I want to add something here. I also know that a lot of nurses in ICU beat up elderly patients.
Yes.
Which
Yes,
is which they have come out and narrated, saying that these nurses are shouting at them, saying, why have you ended up like this? What do you think of yourself? What is, nobody is a nightingale these days.
yes. So that is one thing, ma'am, very clear. And in fact, continuation of that, next day, that nurse has broken my mother's leg. See, a person who cannot even move from the bed, उनका leg double fracture हो गया था. माने at the below the knee level, there was a bend in the leg itself. And my mother wouldn't say one line about it. She was suffering. She wouldn't say anything about it. But when I went in, I used to go every day in the evening, spend some time with her, do prayer and things like that. Later on, when I tried to touch that leg, my mother was refusing to allow me. Then I found that there was bend there, and then Immediately I had to rush her to the hospital, and in the hospital, doctor said that this was deliberately broken by somebody. Somebody breaks the leg, and then my mother wouldn't even say anything about it. So every time I narrate this, I get very, very disturbed. See, I look at
Yes.
myself also in that similar position after some years or whenever it would happen.
You don't know
So,
what your future is, correct?
yes. So the ethics in terms of, I was paying them handsome. Whenever she would leave, I would also give leave and things like that. And my mother won't ask anything. She won't talk also anything. She would just watch the television, just lie down on the bed and only do prayer along with me in the night. Otherwise, she wouldn't even talk to anybody. So the point is two things. How do we instill the ethics? Second is how do we instill the professionalism? These two things really are required. It's not. I was ready to pay 10,000 rupees more also. My mother was a pensioner, and she also had my father's family pension support for her. Apart from that, we had some savings also. So money was not an issue at all. No, I would pay more also. In fact, to supervise these two women, I had one agency to which I paid annually some 1,20,000 rupees. So in spite of that, I always feel that my mother didn't get the best care. The point is, she doesn't know about the care. She doesn't know about any of those that support systems exist or whatever. She, but point I am of the generation that I know that there are services and there are I can pay for it, or paid services are available and people are looking for opportunities in this sector. All that I know, but there is a requirement of, see, in the morning
Yeah,
we had a session in the afternoon
yeah,
with
yeah,
Rajiv Gandhi University. Just 1 minute, I'll close. So
yeah.
in that, this came up, the aspect that you mentioned, that is, there are people who can afford payment and there are people who cannot afford payment.
Hmm.
So the community engagement of the students would be one way by which they engage in see, community. If you're looking at, there's no community ready to talk to you or spend time with you except the older people, elderly people. That is one way a boon, that you can go and talk to somebody in the community. That would be the elderly only. They have time and they have experience and exposure which they can share with the students. So connecting the younger people through their community engagement education, because community engagement education is more or less universal now, as per the curriculum. So that is available as an opportunity. So for those people who cannot afford to pay for. Another thing is, even if you pay for, if the elderly person is full senses and mentally very agile, then he is looking for a company of similar people. He's not
Yes.
necessarily looking for some caregivers sitting around watching the WhatsApp or some nonsense on the social media once in a while, staring at the elderly person. No, they are not looking for that. Probably they are looking at sitting together and playing some carom, or narrating some story of how they handle their boss or subordinate or colleague or neighbor or their life partner. So those
Yes.
stories which they want to tell or share, they would prefer the similar age group, peer group. So a community can facilitate this type of interaction, elderly people and people coming together. We find in villages, the adults go away to work, and all these elderly people come together. They sit in some corner and do some gossip or discuss or something, politics or do something. But they are all together. So there is just as children have an affinity to be together, there is an affinity for elderly people to be together. I see it in our own colony. Every day when I'm going home, I find some 15 people, old elderly people, sitting in the corner of the road. They're all from well-off families only, but they are sitting there and then talking something, and then they're in some prayer or something like that. So point is, community-led service also is required apart from professional service, which is paid service. And this service can be facilitated by a community worker. That is one. Or could be self-done or self-facilitated, like an association of elderly people. Yeah, I close with that.
I was just adding to your point at that time that by appointing or bringing a caregiver at home, caretaker for your elderly is not the end of the story.
Definitely not.
And what all you have said is most relevant. And these people like to be together with their own age group, talking whatever, maybe fighting, discussing politics and all. And I don't know, these are the able-bodied seniors who can come and join these groups and do things. Those who are bedridden, it is even worse. And Rajeshwari had a lot of questions, and she wanted to know a lot about caregiving for her own parents. So maybe she should join and ask everyone questions about this.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening to you all, and I'm happy to be uh, here with you all. Rather than asking, I'm also a part of the system. My father is now 82 years, mother is 75 years. They're still able to move mobile. We are able to manage because all three sisters stayed back in India. I had no opportunity to go abroad. My sister stayed back. Though she was in IT, she never wanted to go. So here I wanted to mention the point of making choices, conscious choices, decisions. Like, the topic which Kantarao sir shared is active and graceful aging. See, that starts in a young age. It doesn't happen. Aging is a phenomena where, at the young age itself, we need to establish all this. Like the saying goes, well spent young or youth days results in golden old age. So as Rustafam ma'am has just now said, we have started it a late, like a decade earlier only we should have thought of it. So I had this opportunity because I was always close to my parents. My children were also there. Three generations were there together, living in a same home, though I stayed one lane away. I used to be always with them available. I have seen my cousin grandmother, how she suffered. I didn't see my grandparents suffering because at that time there was nothing called health issues. They died naturally in sleep. It was really something which the young may not be knowing. It is our generation with my parents who have migrated, started to work. For them, healthcare. My father never took my paternal grandmother or grandfather to a hospital. They didn't have this facility, nor they were sick. My mother is wondering, my father is wondering, what is this every month you take us to check up? Why all this? Healthcare has increased, the burden is increasing on the middle-aged persons, that we need to take care of their health needs as well ours. So I was wondering here, like, there is a lot of opportunity for caregivers and they are not trained. So though as Prasanna sir mentioned, after paying 1 lakh to the agency, willing to pay so much, the services we are not able to, I can't say whether it is buying the service. There is so much of scope here. We are talking about unemployment on one side, and these youth, there is a scope of social entrepreneurship for the unemployed youth to take up caregiving. But this has to come as a passion. It is not that, there is scope and we offer this facility for them. Similarly, daycare centers in India, our social work students could have set up a daycare center, a social worker setting a daycare center for children, for aged. There is lot of scope I have seen. uh, as I am teaching, there is only one unit on gerontological social work. Maybe in future, I think social work will pick up on this area also of the specialization, gerontological social work. The very reason I joined today is to know, as see adult, like how caregiving should happen to my parents, taking into consideration the experiences shared by you all. That is one point. And the second point is professionally how geriatric social work has to take a shape, because the population is becoming cylindrical now. Earlier it was flat. The aged is going to be now 20%, the percentage of population, as Mustafa ma'am also referred it. So picking up with this, and also, if I can share this, I made a small PPT only, so that I won't miss out on my thoughts. Is it okay if I share my
Please
PPT?
go.
it,
Please
it
go
is
ahead.
enabled. I think Prasanna sir, no, Sudarshan sir has to enable that. For me, it is saying disabling sharing. Okay, till
Okay,
then.
I will allow you to
Yes,
share.
sir. Yes, sir. I have visited lot of old age homes. Like, my father always is a talkative person. In spite of having grandchildren, three daughters, all in their home. My sisters, it's a joint family. They all stay together with my parents. He still says he is still not able to, complete the day without talking to his friends. So we shifted our home to the place where his friends stay in Hapshiguda. All his office employees stay there.
Yeah.
Even there is not satisfied. So we are thinking that, he says, take me to a elderly people home where I can spend time. But moving my father is difficult because of his nature, where he has a knee problem. Every Sunday I take my mother to her old friends' homes. She said, what are you doing on Sundays? I said, I have to take care of certain things. She said, no, you spend time. I was thinking, before she asked, I have done it also. But sometimes, when they say, I still think, why did I give her a chance? So every Sunday, she is taken to the house where she lived in 1960s in Malkajgiri. Now, this is how, like, our social work education has taught us, and seeing from all the seniors, I do learn, and I keep telling ma'am, there's a lot of scope. As a parent, I have so many things to do to my parents, but I still wonder what my daughter will be able to do because of the single child um, norms. I think yeah. Let me share. I hope there is time, because I came prepared. Is
Go
the
ahead. Go ahead. Go
screen
ahead. Go
is
ahead.
the screen seen? Is my PPT seen on the screen?
Not yet. Not yet.
Not yet.
అదే ఇప్పుడు పెద్దవాళ్ళు కాదు ఈ
1 minute. I think till I share, if someone can talk.
See, Rajeshwari, you were mentioning about the way you took care or you are taking care. Will your daughter have interest or time or inclination to do it? I think that is one thing we should refrain from thinking also. So we
Yes,
should
sir.
look for the alternate ways. See, one person caregiver's job is not easy job. It is very
Yes,
very
sir.
tough job. They
Mm-mm.
are alone and they are most 90% of their time they are there with the person whom they are giving care to. Even if we are paying money to them, but there is something called as monotony, which is there in their work, and they suffer from the monotony related anxiety or related boredom. Uh, how to handle that also we have to look at. Okay, so in
Yes, sir.
terms of looking at empathetically from the caregiver's point of view.
Yes, sir. I think a host has disabled screen sharing. I'm not able to share the screen.
No, I think I have allowed you to share.
But it is still showing that, sir. Host disabled attendees screen sharing.
I have allowed you. It should be possible now.
Maybe you can
There may be some
share.
latency.
You can send WhatsApp to Sudarshan sir.
I think
Yeah,
that should be better. Yeah, I'll send my PPT.
Try
to
now.
Sudarshan
Try
sir.
now. Try now.
What is coming is screen board, top broadcast or screen broadcast. Broadcast. Yeah.
Yeah, screen is shared, so you should be able
No,
to.
it is saying
It's still
screen
saying,
broadcast.
sir, it is still saying disabled.
Mm,
Is it okay if I share it to Sudarshan sir?
I think he's on the road somewhere.
let me. Yeah, send it to me. Send it to
You are
me.
you are sharing screen. It is showing.
Okay.
It is again saying disabled. I think that is from your side, sir. Sudarshan sir, you are sharing your screen. It is not allowing me to share.
Okay. Let me go to.
This is what a caregiver is expected to do, and this is what a caregiver will certainly do.
Yes,
That type of chart or that type of charter is to be developed, and that is to be ingrained in the training itself, so that you know that you can expect this from the caregiver, and this is what they will do. Definitely, they will do. So this is something which is missing. Krishna Mohan should be able to share, because Krishna Mohan is handling the caregivers.
Is he on the? Is he online?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
he's
have
there.
joined.
Yeah, madam.
Krishna
Okay.
Mohan, please share.
Yeah, madam. There are multiple reflections, sir.
Okay.
Like I'll speak once.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Garu has completed. Then I'll add my
Yeah.
No, go ahead. Go
points.
ahead now.
I think let Rajeshwari share. Try now.
Yes, sir. I'm trying. Yeah.
If you could please speak a little louder, Mr. Krishna Mohan.
Krishna Mohan has stopped speaking.
I'm waiting for Rajeshwari madam. Like I thought,
Finish.
I'll wait until Rajeshwari madam finishes her
It's
presentation.
okay. Krishna
And
Mohan,
then
you speak. You speak.
Krishna Mohan, go ahead.
madam. Okay.
No.
Yeah,
Krishna,
So
Krishna, please introduce yourself first. What you do?
yeah, namaste everyone. I'm Krishna Mohan. I've been running a place called Krishna Sadan. So this is on the outskirts of Hyderabad. Basically, what we do is providing counseling for elders who have adjustment difficulty with the family members. So any elders like who have trouble with within the families, they can come to a place. We have two options. One, we provide counseling. Second is we are also a transit home where the elders can stay in a place for a day or two, and once they feel they are better, they can go back to their place. Sometimes few elders, they are clear, like they do not want to open up immediately. They just want to spend some time, so they can come to a place. 1 second, madam. I think your screen is coming, madam.
Yes, Rajeshwari, your screen is coming. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think,
I completely prepared on this topic. I will take 10 minutes. It may look little theoretically. I thought some of the students also will be there. So let me put my peace of mind, because this will relate to geriatric social work syllabus inclusion also. Okay. I have moved to the second slide. This is the overview of my presentation. I thought I'll start with some quotes on aged and aging. Point 2 is demographics on aged, definition and classification as given by WHO, concept of active aging and healthy aging, functional ability, intrinsic capacity and environmental components, determinants of aging, impact of aging, elder abuse, conclusion and references. I think I've already said the first quote. Well spent youth results in golden old age. sow at young age to reap at ripe age. This is for the youngsters now whom we will be a role model. Like they need to learn this at a young age. So that is why this quote which says, "Sow at young age and reap at ripe age." It is rewiring and not retirement. For people like me who are into 50s, who were eagerly waiting some time ago, let me retire, I will rest. But I have learned that there is nothing called retirement. I still have to do my job of serving my parents and in-laws, all the elders at home. So it's rewiring so that I can take care of them. It is not only me, I have my sisters along with me. Beautiful young people are accidents of nature. Beautiful old people are the works of art. The kind of service which we do will result in a golden and glorious old age, as told by Eleanor Roosevelt, who was the first lady of US during 1993 to 1945. This is in brief about the demographics of elderly in India. This statistics is the census of 2011. I couldn't get 21, though I have it. I couldn't make it for the PPT, as that is still to be done. 2021 census is still going on. We only have National Family Health Survey, which was done. So it is a combination of that in the next slide. But this slide, only I'll be talking about that highlighted feature. In India, Government of India Health and Family Welfare says aged are those who are above 60 years, but WHO definition is for those who are above 65 years. Now, if we look at the census in 1991, people above 60 years in India were 56 million. Then in 2001, it was 76.6 million. Then in the year 2011, it is 103.8 million. If we look it at the terms of percentage, 60 and above is 6.8% during 1991. During 2001, it is 7.5. During 2011, it is 8.6. Now, my next slide will tell about how India has been changing over the century. 1951, how flat it was, the children population and the aged at the top. If we look at up to 2010, like every 30 years how it progressed, in 70 how it is, in 90. If we look at 2010, it started to take from the pyramid shape, it started to take a cylindrical form. Now at 2020, the percentage of aged in India is 20%, 20.3. At 2023, it is this cylindrical form, and 2050, it will be less of the young population. This is what is worrisome, where I have heard Chandrababu Naidu is also telling, to couples not to stop at one child. Again, that has got its yes and no for the young generation, because the young generation couple are saying one or none, of which I am also part of it. I had my own reasons for going for one child norm, but when I have to talk this in terms of relating to the elderly population, I doubt how it is going to be, because my other slides also will show how one child will look at it as a burden. I'll come to that point also. Demographics, as per United Nations Fund for Population Activities, this is with regard to India only again. In the year 2022, in India, the elderly constituted around 10% of the total population. In 2039, it is projected to go to 18%, and by 2050, it will raise to 20.8%. And the children between the age of 0 to 15 will be going down. The study also showed that by 2046, the elderly in India will outnumber the children in the age group of 0 to 14 years, and there will be a decline in the people aged between 15 to 59. This is the productive age group. They will be reducing and the elderly will be increasing. That means there is a burden on this age group 15 to 59. They become less and the elderly will be growing more. Now, coming to aged, I've already covered that India government says it is 60 years and above at aged, and as per WHO, it is 65 years. So I'll skip this. Okay, let me read this definition as per WHO because I fixed my mind to active and graceful aging. WHO has defined active aging as the process of optimizing opportunities for health, participation, and security to enhance the quality of life as people age. Now, that is what all of us were referring to, participation. What are the opportunities available for the elderly to participate in the community activities as per their ability? And the security, the social security, the financial security. Have we planned for that social security? And health, also that healthcare, how much of it is really helping them with the raising cost of healthcare in the corporates? The WHO has classified chronologically aged into three categories: young, old. Now, I think the seniors here can still see that some of them do not fit into this yet. I think 65 to 74 years is young, old, 75 to 84 years is advanced, old, 85 years and above is advanced, very advanced, old. This population is going to increase and there is lot of scope for us to work on this. As per the Sanatana Dharma, this is the classification: Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasa. Again, Sannyasa, which says the age is about 76 years. Continuing with that definition of active aging as per WHO, I'll skip this slide. And yeah, this is what very important. Graceful aging happens through active aging. And what is active aging as per WHO? It says aging takes place in the context of friends, work associates, neighbors, and family members. This is where all of us should get tuned to, like going with the friends, working with our associates, involving neighbors, community engagement, and also involving family members. So some of the families say that they were elderly people say they were left by their children, not taking care. It could be avoided. It could have been avoided if we involve our family members in the caregiving. This is why interdependence as well as intergenerational solidarity. There, as parents, we live as an example. Here, I get reminded of a small narration story where there a grandparent was not treated properly by the daughter-in-law of the house. So that is being observed by the grandson. So one day, the grandson was trying to mold a wooden piece into a plate. The mother asks him, "What are you doing?" That grandchild says, "I am trying to mold a plate for you." Why, she asks? Because you have given grandfather in one bowl, that meal in a bowl. So I am preparing myself. If I have to serve you in old age, I also have to give you in a bowl. So I am molding you. So whether it is proper treatment or ill treatment, children observe the parents and they learn. So this is where I want to connect this intergenerational solidarity to the theme given by the not in Indian, International Association of Social Workers, Schools of Social Workers, for the International World Social Work Day. The theme says strengthening intergenerational solidarity for enduring well-being. So it happens with the connect, the bond between intergenerations. So it's two-way giving and receiving between individuals of older generation and younger generation. How we as elders encourage our younger generation to be a part of the caregiving is our role. I know that all of us have been doing, but by saying so, I ensure that people around also will be doing the same thing. Here I also want to relate it to this that caption where we always say that today's children are tomorrow's citizen. Adding to that, yesterday's child is today's adult and tomorrow's grandmother or grandfather. Again, connecting this to Dr. Prasanna sir's initiative, there was a network called NCEAN, National Community Engagement Network, where last year sir has given this punchline: today's youth, for yesteryear's youth. That was really, really such a catchy punchline, so meaningful that I asked my students to celebrate National Youth Day, which falls on 13th January, with this punchline. So instead of celebrating Youth Day, they said they will celebrate with this theme, and they have put up skits like how they will take care. There were three skits. Sir, I missed to inform this to you at that time, though I told to Sai sir about the celebration which our students did. There were three skits. One was about how children will take care of their grandparents in the family. One was how the community is going to take care of the elderly through the community engagement network. And one was how, elderly homes, that old age homes are. Then, and conclusion the students said was, if families can take care, we can avoid community burden, we can avoid the burden by the old age home. So this really helped me, and that was an eye opener. Then I thought geriatric social work subject has to be introduced coming hereafter. Now I'll skip this also because that is more lot of theory in it. Now functional abilities, again I'll skip that also. Now what did UN say about what are the determinants for active aging? Participation, health, social security, these are the three components for the elderly, and which all of us have to ensure that we provide this, and we are a part of it. Again, there are 6 determinants given by WHO in the year 2002. This was the outcome of MIPA. The MIPA stands for Madrid International Plan of Action on Aging. That has given a framework like what are the 6 determinants. We start first with economic determinants. So economic planning should happen at a very young age, not at the age of 50 that we plan for old age. No, it should start at a young age, the moment we start earning. Healthcare services in terms of health insurance, how much of ever health insurance we have, we are still not able to meet that huge expenses. So somewhere we need to work on this as social workers. Behavioral determinants, then personal determinants, physical environment, social determinants. I will not elaborate on this again. Now okay, now how do we ensure that all those determinants are made possible by each one of us? As the topic says, active and um, graceful aging, well spent young days. So how do this happen? I always mention this seventh habit of highly effective people given by Stephen Covey, the seventh habit, which says every person, if you have to be effective, we need to have all these 4 quotients. PQ, that is the physical quotient, which talks about the exercise, nutrition, stress management, the number of hours you sleep, that food, rest, and all that comes in that. PQ, the physical quotient, which means to live. Then comes the IQ, which is the mental quotient, reading, visualizing, planning, writing. Our intellectual quotient, which means we learn, we live, we learn, we love, and leave a legacy. To love, that is the emotional quotient, the service which we do. That is where social workers, I think we are all happy because of the service which we do. Our social quotient and emotional quotient is really I feel proud to say it is really, when we compare with other professionals, it is high. And also read one research which says all those people who take up social work or anything related to service with the behavioral sciences or sociology courses are those people whose EQ is more. I can't recollect that research to paper for me to quote, but I remember reading that unlike the engineering students whose IQ is more, that is where we hear about so much of mental health issues for the students studying in IITs and NITs, but not with the case of the social workers. I never had any issue with the social work students. So that is the EQ, which is to love, and the spiritual quotient to, that is all that forms of meditation, mindfulness, conscious living, meditation, yoga, and all this, which means to leave a legacy. So whenever I say, how to age gracefully, when talking to the youth, we refer to this habits. How much are we sharpening our habits? Because these are the habits which make us not to regret at the end, after 50 or after 60, why I have missed out on all this. If consciously these can be a part of our day to day living, continuing with the same habit of IQ, EQ, SQ, that is body, mind, heart, soul. I'll skip this also. This part I'm not really sure if I had to include, because it is not only those 4 L's, but when we say graceful aging, money management is very, very important. I'm not a right person to talk on this. I just added these flyers from the net, where it is very important that money management, because I have seen many parents, suffering because of the ill planning which was done. This is only for me to be conscious that people should think about. These are some rules. I think I'll skip that also. The basic thing which we tell to our students is this: 50-30-20%. 50% your basic needs, how you have to save your financials. 30% on shopping and other hobbies, leisures. 20% saving. This itself is enough to take care, is what which I learned 20 years ago, but this has changed. That's why I said I'm not a right person. I think when we are talking about aging,
Rajeshwari, can I interrupt? How many slides do you have?
over. Yes, ma'am.
8
I'll
more.
skip. I said I'm not a right person. I'll skip
Because
that.
we were thinking that we
Yeah.
should, if you can
Yes.
share these slides, we will read them later.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
And
Agree.
let us continue our discussion with
Yes.
formulating a course with the help of Prasanna
Yes.
and everyone.
Yes, ma'am. I think this is the
If you
conclusion
don't
of my
mind,
thing.
you have
Yeah,
really
yeah.
prepared excellent slides. It's full of knowledge.
This is the
And we would like
conclusion, ma'am.
to peacefully read them. And
Yes.
it
Yes.
is
Yes.
very enlightening slides. I have not heard many of the stuff that you have shared with us. Can
Yes,
we
Yes.
go back
I
to
I
talking
agree with
about
you, Saras.
curriculum formation or
Yes.
whatever it
Yes. Yes.
is?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. I'll stop there. I'll stop there. With due respect, I agree. Yes, ma'am. I'll stop there.
Yes, Rajeshwari, excellent what you were talking till now. Really admire
Yeah,
your effort in preparing those slides.
yeah, they are excellent slides. Actually, the student population will benefit from it like anything.
Gopal,
Only, but
please come here.
this is the content actually that will go into the curriculum. And so you have already begun very well on what should ultimately go into the curriculum. But if today's objective for us, if today's objective is that we should be thinking in terms of what should go into a course, then first of all, we have to decide whether the course is a more comprehensive course, such as who will work with institutions of the elderly. Or are we thinking of a course which is only indirect for caregiving of the elderly? Because caregiving of the elderly is more to do with health, for example, and social and psychological emotional needs. This is the direct caregiving function. Then there is a course which will be not just for looking after the elderly, but it will also be for managing an institution, looking after groups of elderly. And then that will not only focus on health, it will also focus on the social needs and also on supervision and managerial skills. Now, the two things are different. So I don't know whether your group has given some thought to this and what would you like to focus on in today's discussion? Because
Nasreen,
it is too much to take both together. Ultimately, we need both. But today, do we want to focus on the caregiver to the elderly, or do we want to focus on developing a curriculum for manpower for managing institutions.
And Nasreen ji, actually, we are looking at the first and second together, but you very carefully differentiated between these two functions. Point is,
Education level will also be very different, doctor. You see,
yes,
the caregiver to the elderly, in our experience, is generally a person we have been insisting should be at least 10th class pass, school, at least school leaving. Earlier, we said a person should at least be 12th standard, junior college. But the NGOs told us, once they do 12th standard, the whole world is open for them. They can do so many skill courses. You know, there are retail courses, there are other computer courses. So why will they come for elderly caregiving? Elderly caregiving is a most non-glamorous, very hardworking, requiring dedication, patience, and commitment. So it is not something which is glamorous, and most young people are not attracted to it at all. For example, you take up some job in a retail, setup. You go to a nice mall. It is air conditioned. There are bright lights. You are selling perfume and leather belts, and you are selling some nice products, and you are meeting all happy people who are doing shopping. When you are looking after the elderly, it is not like that. It is a situation. Sometimes it can be quite a depressing situation also. And you are in a home, not necessary that you are in a very nice, glamorous environment, happy environment, meeting people who are out there having fun. So taking this into account, how do you get the people who want to do this work? So very often, that horror story that you related, which happened to your mother, very, very unfortunate. But why is it that such people come to that work? They come out of only economic necessity. They don't come out of dedication or patience, which you rightly mentioned. That is what is required. What we require is somebody who wants to serve. Unfortunately, the reality is not that. You don't easily get people who want to serve. People do that work only because there is an income, some money attached to it. So how do we get the people who will be more patient, more dedicated, more persevering? And the persons who will manage the institution definitely need to be at least graduates, because then that is a totally different ball game. What they are expected to do is to run the institution.
and Nasreen ji, there are in what you said, I am looking at the service at different levels.
Right.
One is, of course, you mentioned, when you mentioned both, you are mentioning at one level that a home is being run. Second is, you are working at home of the elderly or working in the home for the elderly.
Yes.
Okay. So I have an elderly person at home. A caregiver may be working at my home with the
Yes.
elderly. Or
Yes.
there is an old age home where this person is working. Okay. So these are two places where the caregiver is working.
Yes.
And this caregiver will have to be trained.
Yes.
Okay. Second thing is managing these caregivers and the old age home, elderly place is also
Yes.
an activity which requires
Yes.
training.
Yes.
Which
Sir, if I
I
may
am looking
add,
at a third. I am looking at a third dimension
Yes.
where the it is not a full time 24 hours type of bedridden case where the person is in the old age home completely away from his family, or uh, uh, or at home but with a 100% caregiver support. I am looking at a different situation where the elderly in a community, they get support of a person who is professionally trained
Yes.
to handle them, to make their life happier, to organize the activity around which all these people can work. That is
Yes.
one. So that, see, point is, being able to afford. See, I could afford 70 to 80,000 for my mother every month.
Yes.
Okay, that will be very, very difficult for most of the cases. So in that context, can we have an elderly care worker working for a group of elderly people? Suppose you have
Yes.
5 to 10 people or 5 people. So
Yes.
the same amount, the same 70,000 can be distributed among them. So it could be
Yes.
10,000 or 8,000 or something like that, which they could easily pay. And this elderly care person is available for them together, like a physiotherapist. A physiotherapist can go to a home, and every 15 minutes he changes from one person to other person. He completes his total work in a home in a period of 4 hours or 5 hours, and he or she takes home the his 50,000 or 60,000 monthly. That is one
Yes.
way of even the care worker can be like that. In the
Yes.
old age homes, what we have is there are some care workers who are available in the pool. That means that that care worker is able to serve a set of old people, elderly people, maybe 10 of them or 8 of them. So there could be 2 or 3 care workers, one handling only diet, one handling the other needs, and somebody else handling their spiritual or some other social activity. 3 people are engaged in an old age home where they are working with some 10 to 15 people. That is another situation. So,
So there can be, no, what you are rightly saying is there can be different models of care. How you evolve these models, it is up to you.
Yeah.
But based on those models, you would have to train the functionaries who are supposed to service those models. So on the
100%.
one side, there are family caregivers. That means these are sons, daughters-in-law. On the other side, on another level, there are trained caregivers who are not family members. Then there are trained caregivers who will work in a home, and there are trained caregivers who will work in an institution.
Yep.
Like a nursing home or some dementia care, for example. And then you can have training for what is known as peer workers. So peer workers are basically people who want to spend time at a social or a recreational level with the elderly, who don't have health problems. So they are not looking after them in any medical sense, but they are looking after their social, emotional, and psychological needs.
Yes.
So companionship. So you
Yeah.
can train people for just companionship also. HDFC Life had a good model for that. Actually, they developed quite a few short videos for what are all the things that some young people can go and do with older people.
Oh,
And
very
in
good.
that we included things like music, arts, discussing cookery, singing Sanskrit shlokas with them. Whatever it is that the elderly person likes, this young person prepares himself or herself and spends an hour or two every day. And HDFC Life had taken that as one of their CSR projects to do. So there are various ways in which, but one has to decide what one wants to do, or one can work on all the 3, 4, 5 things together. But where do
Nasreen,
you want to begin?
listen to Krishna Mohan, who has done all this in his ashram.
Yeah,
He had started now. I think he should.
yeah, madam.
Most of this you have done, so probably you should share.
Yeah, few reflections, madam, from what Nasreen madam has said and Prasanna Kumar sir has added. I'll first add my points, and then if there is any question again, like I'll be able to answer. So one point about caretakers is the very direction we are going right now is like it is fault, is at fault. as we have already discussed the quality of training and everything. There are training institutes, NIST, National Institute of Social Defense, under Minister of
MSG.
the Aging Department, NISD,
Yes.
they are doing trainings. And
Yes.
monthly, once in 2 months, 3 months, we are getting candidates as well. And
Yes.
for candidates also, for people who have completed the course, there are quite a lot of opportunities. Like, for example, even abroad, UK, for example, and not just for the sake of number, I'm saying, like UK, for example, for every requirement of 10 old age homes, they only have 2 old age homes. They are in so desperate need that they used to ask for MSW for someone very qualified who worked in a old age home for long term. It came down to a point that anyone with a simple experience certificate from an old age home is now taken as a staff member in those old age homes in UK. And there was also a issue that happened in January, which was raised in UK Parliament, where many unqualified people from India have come there, something like that. What I'm trying to say is courses are there, but the problem here, what I see is the very good model I saw is like it's in Singapore, where what the government does is for a qualified nurse, government sponsors half of the amount. Like for example, if 40,000 is the charge for a caretaker, like as you said, madam, government sponsors 20,000. The rest will be taken care by the family who has the elderly. So what happens here is everyone who is qualified with this course, they know they have a sustainable career option. Now, if you see, if you look at from the aspect of a caregiver, they have to go under one of the other agency, healthcare agency, who is not, who doesn't have a qualification, anything. He's more like a contractor who hires labor from the Adda. It's as simple as that. I'm sorry to say that, but it's similarly in the same scenario as well. Like you never know whom you're getting. All they take from the person is just an Aadhaar card. From there, we have to go to a state where we get nurses sent by the government. Now, the Telangana government, for example, under task, they are training for skilled education, whatever. So we can include aged care there. There's a huge scope. People do not want to miss the opportunity of a sustainable career here, provided they are taken care properly. So I think that will be helpful for caretakers point. And second thing in regards to the insurance companies, here the problem we have is many elderly people, if you see the insurance programs, for example, post-retirement money, if I'm getting some 20 lakhs or 30 lakhs post-retirement, for example, they already have vouched that 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs in the name of their grandchildren or grandson, or paying off the debts of the children or daughter, something or the other. One model which I saw, which impressed me, like healthcare we have, is in South Korea, where the government pays for the old age home. That's a different package altogether. You start paying for that insurance scheme when you're in 40s. By the time you're 60, 65, if you choose to stay in an old age home, that is a dedicated amount that can be given only to the old age homes. So no, you're not dependent on anyone. You'll be paid by the government, like the government pays for your old age homes. And old age homes also, like now there are homes who charge 15,000, 20,000 per day, to even in Mumbai, like they charge up to 2 lakhs, 2.5 lakhs. So there's a variety of options. So similarly, we can get in insurance programs, provided like the government makes that reforms. It's still not happening. So I approached IRDAI, Insurance Regulatory Development Authority of India, where they said new ideas can be taken provided the insurance company comes up with such plans. So there's a large scope where we can work with the insurance companies and work on that level. That is in regarding to the insurance. Unless such a change happens, we cannot stop elderly promising their retirement money or insurance money to someone else. Like we can't prevent that from happening. And sir, Prasanna sir has rightly said, the community engagement is like, that is very helpful. Even in our own old age home, I keep telling my friends on a funnier note that mandi ekoite mataniki chetu. I mean, like the more the number, that doesn't work. So what we do here is like it's a 10 members facility. Now, if one person gets sick, automatically like the other person has concern on the other 9 people have concern on this person, because they're like the one-on-one is more and the engagement with each other is like more. So that helps the elderly people, not just in old age homes, even at community levels. I have seen this working where, as sir has said, nowadays it's happening more commonly in apartments and the walking clubs in evening walking clubs in communities, where they're forming that solidarity between each other and they're concerned about each other. That definitely works. That is very much helpful. But however, having said that, in the Rajasari garu annattu Vanapastha ashram, in aging, just because we are aged, it doesn't mean that people will start responding to our age or number. It's very important that within aging, people, elderly also make an effort on how relevant they are with the younger community and how connected they are with the families. So that is something, a different note that, but what I'm trying to say is like, there's also a space where elders need to be helped sometimes to be empathetic towards family,
Yes.
something like that.
Yes,
Yeah, madam.
you are right.
So these are the 2 points I wanted to share. And if you want me to explore on anything, if you have any questions specifically, I can answer, madam.
I just wanted to add something. All of us have said a lot of things. I don't know if somebody has mentioned diet and exercise, which are very important to remain active. We may have a lot of companions, we may have friends, we may go out, we may do so many things, but I think these two are also very important ingredients. As you grow old, you know, people have to start at the age of 30 itself. Don't wait till you grow old. So, Nasreen, will you shed some light on this?
No, I mean, you can't emphasize it more than, enough. Like, exercise and diet is absolutely the key to any successful or graceful or active aging, or whatever is the phrase that you want to use. Without an adequate diet and exercise, there is nothing, because that is what leads to the health issues. So the lifestyle of the elderly person, there is absolutely no doubt about it that, these aspects have to be looked at. But they are very closely culturally related. So for example, even in caregiver training, we have to de-school, we have to remove a lot of wrong ideas about health and exercise that people have. And we also tend to take it for granted that some aches and pains will be there. Abhi to budhapa hai. Now to your back is going to pain. Now, of course, you are going to slow down. Of course, your hearing will become less. The eyesight will become bad. People take it for granted. Quality of life goes down. So there are many, for example, it is known from medical research that people who develop hearing loss, elderly who develop hearing loss, are more prone to cognitive problems than those who can hear properly. So loss of hearing results in loss of social contact. You are seated in a group, you can't hear people. You don't take part in the conversation. Slowly, you start becoming isolated. And isolation leads to cognitive decline. So, all the things that we think, ये तो होता है, ये तो चलने ही वाला है, ये तो होने ही वाला है. But we have to be careful about it. You can't just take it for granted and not do anything. So exercise is extremely important, and diet is also very critically important.
Yes.
Both.
A lot has to be written and talked about in about these two areas also, in whatever courses are being formulated. for senior citizens. These two, I thought, are very important because people just don't care what they eat or whether it's, nowadays you see people doing, going for walks and all that because they have realized
Yes.
that it's very important. Whether maybe because they go to US and see their children and come back.
Yes.
That's when I saw them all in the track pants and all busy walking and all that. And it's mostly men. I don't see many women walk, at least in our colony. That also has to be insisted. But Nasreen, I'm so impressed with your work. Yeah. I'm going to write a separate note to you. Nasreen, I'm very impressed with your study, your research, your work and everything. Very impressive.
No, nothing impressive. I'm just thinking that if we are going to, zero down, if we are going to become clear as to who is our priority. Is there a need for family caregivers and for institutional caregivers? Then we should start thinking of a curriculum for them first.
Yes.
If we are thinking that there are institutions, but they are very poorly run, then we should start thinking in terms of a diploma program, which will be a little higher level, and it can be associated with the School of Social Work so that it gets. And Rajeshwari has been referring very much to interns, to students. So all of them through their fieldwork can also be involved in this, and we can, initiate the services in old age homes also, actually.
All the participants today should, like Prasanna, Rajeshwari, Krishna Mohan and all, who have been working in this field should be associated with Nasreen and formulate some courses. Prasanna says they've already done it, but I think there should be a group and, things should be discussed some more.
Yes, yes.
Prasanna, I would think you'll be really good at it.
Yeah. Madam Nasreen ji, we will certainly like to take your support. See, let's go step by step. As far as the present agenda is concerned, social work as a profession has programs at bachelor's and master's level. In these two programs, whether it is at master's level or bachelor's level, we have a basic course in the geriatric social work.
Okay.
And an advanced course in geriatric social work. Let's look at creating that type of structure. Course would mean daily one class and 4 days a week classes. So one is that is a semester, the basic course, second semester an advanced course. Okay, by when they should be able to get enough exposure in terms of being a geriatric social worker. Okay, geriatric social worker is not the caregiver.
Right.
Yeah.
Correct.
So geriatric social worker probably is an organization, is going to initiate an organization which will have caregivers.
Yes.
And these caregivers will have to be separately trained, just like ANMs are trained.
Yes.
ASHA workers, ANMs are trained. They are given specific skills, specific training.
Absolutely.
Right now, we are not looking at that. While that
Okay.
is priority also,
Okay.
right now we are looking at how the social work program. See, even College of Social Work Hyderabad, that is the college from which I studied, where Saraswati ma'am and Venkat Rao sir taught us. That
Yes.
that institution also has geriatric social work. This semester they are offering. In fact, they started their classes from yesterday for this semester. They need also fieldwork placement. So yesterday that girl who's working there, Sharda, the faculty member, she was seeking for some support in terms of fieldwork. Now, see, when there is this complete absence of this particular of people in this particular area. We need to create interest in for people to get into this area. So for
Yes.
that, what I suggested was that I will give sponsorship for their semester field work. I would pay some 5,000 rupees per month for a person who takes up geriatric social work and also does field work in this area. Because the College of Social Work presently is having the problem of students coming to the class itself. They don't even come to the class. So generally teachers go to the class and students don't go to the class. And after a while, teachers also don't go to the class because there is nothing in the class. So that is the present state of education in social work in College of Social Work in Hyderabad.
Yeah. Sad it
Yeah,
is.
yeah. So
Then
in
how
that
many
context,
students have taken gerontological social work, Prasanna?
she didn't tell me that, ma'am. I will have to find out. I think some 14 people are there, but she
Oh,
didn't give
not
me the
bad.
correct
Not
figure.
bad.
Yeah. So I
Yeah,
said
not bad at all.
any of them, see, one is taking that course. Second is doing fieldwork placement in that area. So doing a course in the classroom is different from doing the fieldwork in that sector. I said, whoever is interested in doing fieldwork, I will sponsor them. She is now got some projects where students get some money for doing some survey, but they have to come to the class first. After doing the class, they will get that opportunity of getting into the project where they can earn every month some 4,000 or 5,000. That is the
And
type of incentive there.
Krishna is the best source for resource for fieldwork.
Krishna, are you interested in taking a fieldwork?
Very much, sir. We can
Only
engage
thing is
students.
travel.
Where is your
Devariyanga.
location?
This is towards Kompally, sir.
Okay, wonderful. Anyway, that doesn't matter. I went from Hyderabad to Saidapur, 70 kilometers away for fieldwork. That shouldn't really matter. That shouldn't really matter. So,
Yeah, true, sir.
and then we paid for it. So anyway, the point is, yes, Nasreen, what we will do is, both Rajeshwari also has some course. We will share our course which is there with us, which is basically for the MSWs and BSWs. Rajeshwari is going to share with you the MSW course. I will find out from Sharda what is the course content in BSW. We will share with you those things. Okay. We are also parallelly working on restructuring the field work and the curriculum in social work. Okay. Rajeshwari is the leader in that particular task. So apart from working on gerontology. So fortunately, Rajeshwari also has the power. She is the board of studies. She's the director. She's the boss of board of studies, which means she will be the boss of syllabus approving committee in their university. So in that context, we can do experiment with those students who are interested in doing work and who are interested in
And
learning.
I want to add to Prasanna. I can use our company's CSR funds to support some students who will work in this area, and they will maybe feel encouraged to go for field work or come to class. If you all tell me what to do, I can divert some of our business funds for this kind of activity. You can let me know.
So Krishna Mohanji, your agency will be the agency where students will come for field work.
Sure, sir.
Okay. And your guidance will be definitely useful for that. So
I'll do
the content of the course, whatever Rajeshwari ji and Sharda ji are giving, we will share with you also. First, we will share, of course, we'll share parallelly with you, simultaneously with you and Nasreen madam. So both of you have a look at that, and you can give your inputs and she will give her inputs. And let's see how this can be transacted. See, the advantage which teachers have is that they are boss of the class. In the class, what they transact, nobody can question. They can talk anything in the world, and they can still say that that is the course, and that goes out. that goes on like that. And apart from that, teachers have, every college has that 20% freedom of fiddling with the course. Even if a course is approved, 20% of the syllabus can be meddled with by the faculty member. That's also is allowed as per the UGC guidelines. So in that context, if already a structured course is offered, and if they cannot fiddle with in completely transforming that course, we can still have insert some components or some inputs into the course. So Nasreen ji, what we will also look for is probably a guidance session for the faculty handling these courses, whether at Rajeshwari ji's university or the College of Social Work, RM College of Social Work. Maybe an hour of orientation from your side will help them in actually tuning it. Ante kada, Rajeshwari ji? Yeah, who is offering this course in your place?
Here it is a part of family and child welfare specialization. The
Oh, you have
title,
only one unit.
it is one subject. Working with
Family.
working with children and aged.
Okay. So in family and child welfare specialization, you have one subject.
Yes, sir. Yes.
In sorry, sir.
30
Sorry to
hours.
interrupt.
Yeah.
In
Dr.
Ayesha ji.
Osmania
Rajeshwari,
University,
30 hours.
Yeah, Ayesha ji wanted to say something. Yeah, Ayesha.
in Osmania University, in family and child welfare, one of the paper is geriatric social work.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
wonderful.
In 4th SEM, they have one paper, geriatric social work.
Wonderful. So Ayesha ji, what we would request you is that I will put my number in the chat box. You can send the curriculum of geriatric social work in the offered in your in the university. And
Sure, sir. I can do that. Sure.
yeah, so we will share that with Nasreen ji, and Rajeshwari ji, you can also share
Yes,
your course structure.
Prasanna, I sent you.
Uh,
I just now sent you. Aisha has shared with me.
oh, wonderful. Okay, so good. Is it shared in this group or in the WhatsApp group?
I shared with you, not in this group. I can put it in the group also.
Yeah. So you can put it in this group or you can put it in the LL group.
Yeah, LL group I'm putting.
Okay. So LL group, if you put, then what we will do is we will share with you, Nasreen ji.
Okay,
See,
sure.
I am a person who is a little bit concerned about what comes outcome. So in that context, since you are available, we don't want to miss the chance of giving it to your scrutiny or your inputs. Please consider that these guys with the lower level of motivation, lower level of involvement in education are going to be partners in this learning exercise. So also we need to work on the transaction, but right now look at the content itself. And if you have some references, you can share those references also, and the sources of this reference, so that we can lay hands on that and fetch them. You also mentioned about these HDFC videos.
Yeah.
That, there's HDFC people, they will not share it because this corporate sector people, they make their own things and they keep the intellectual property rights, IPR.
But that could be on the websites or any YouTube's.
But the model I know.
Okay.
The model I know. So, the whole idea is that how do you prepare somebody who is like in their graduate years, maybe doing first year, second year, third year, BA or BCom or something. And if they can spare the time to be with the elderly person for twice a week, maybe 3 times a week, for 1 hour, and based on what the elderly person's interest is, this person should be able to do those type of activities.
Oh, wonderful.
So sometimes there are some elderly people who might just be interested in some old time recipe, something which their mother used to make or they used to make. So young people, they can look it up. They can sit with them with the laptop, encourage them. Sometimes just encourage them to listen to old
Music.
songs,
Yes, yes, yes.
music,
Yeah.
maybe writing. Some elderly people like journaling. They like to write. Or just be a listener also. There are many elderly people who only want to say something about their life, their memories. They want to talk about something. So 1 hour this person spends. But before that, they get a training. They get a training to understand who is the older person, what are some of the mental, psychological changes that occur during aging, and then what are some of the activities that they can do with elderly people. It can also include taking them for a walk, going out with them outside, because today families don't have time for the elderly.
Yeah,
Though we like to think that we are treating them very well, but
there's no time, correct?
they don't have time.
So
Nasreen ji,
Prasanna,
what
Prasanna,
Kantarao, madam?
you can make best use of Nasreen. That's why I invited her on this panel discussion, because I know that she has done excellent work in this area. And I really want to thank her for making time to be on this. She's sleepy right now.
No, nothing like that, Saras. This elderly business, last 15 years, almost from 2007,
Mm.
I have almost 50% of my work time I have given to this since
Yes.
2007. Apart
Yes.
from that, whatever else I did, but the diploma in gerontology and the certificate in geriatric care, these were the two things that I spent maximum time on.
Yeah, so it will be of great help to all these young boys and girls who are on this. So I think they should form into a group and maybe even get in touch with you and whatever it is. Prasanna, you have to do this.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, we will work on this and see that there is an orientation given to the faculty as well as the students, so that there is no transaction loss. Sometimes there is a transaction loss in course of getting it beyond certain levels. Sir, Venkatrao sir, we didn't hear you at all.
Yes, you have been very quiet.
No, I've been absorbing it because I've recently come out of one of those shocking situations where I've had to, myself and my younger brother, had to think about a few alternatives for my 92-year-old mom. And we were lucky enough to have a cousin of ours who at this point of time has provided respite all the way in for the next 2 months or so in Rajamundry. And of course, she likes to be with them, that family. So a few services have been put up. But essentially, I think, I can relate to most of the stuff that you have mentioned about, but some other things that can also happen within the families is elder abuse by themselves, self-abuse, abuse by the family members themselves, denial that, often results in a situation where people go through their own deprivations and so unfortunate situations. As far as in similarities with Prasanna, in Prasanna's care, in his home, he tried to put carers and they abused. We were just about to do that. Krishna Mohan himself was very personally involved in advising us and ensuring that the right people will be found and everything else. And we've had a number of discussions, at the family level and everything else. And yeah, so that's something that we are going through. And yeah, and I mean, this is a situation where when people migrate, from one country to the other, leaving their elderly, and in the care of their own family members. But it is just that if one family member takes on to a few habits which are obviously not conducive for the rest of the family, and then the care deteriorates over a period of time. So abuse is financial, abuse is constantly, I mean, there was no need for her to be abused at all, because she runs she's a taxpayer in spite of being 92. But then that's a situation with her. We have a temporary solution for her, and we've been lucky. But otherwise, at some point of time, my mother is going to be Krishna Mohan's baby. So he will try to figure out what is necessary. I will be spending more time with her and all my even the other younger brother. That's all that we can do, because it is not a kind of a time when we can, even if we were to provide a first class ticket, there is still the Indigo flight which has to go like that and then come through. It's not one of those nice things to do. All I can, I relate to what Nasreen has said. In the Western world, we are looking for Asians, Africans, Latin Americans. Only these are the kind of people who serve. The whites do not serve the whites very clearly. Whites obviously go for those fancy jobs, as Nasreen has pointed out. Some young people do that. And our problem in the Western world is that it's only social work students and nursing students and pharmacy students and public health students who come from various Asian, African countries. During this struggle initially, they take on to this aged care, but thanks for the providence of Certificate 3 and Certificate 4 that become compulsory in the Western countries for you to have skills, and those skills are the ones which with which they start. But we have had a Royal Commission on Abuse, and Western world is certainly. I don't know which one is moving much better in their speed in terms of abusing the elderly, but it is, in some cases it's economic abuse, in some cases it results in like how Prasanna's mom and my mom were classmates. So if she didn't report that there was an abuse, my mother obviously never reported to us that my own younger brother had a different challenging behavior of his own. But things will be better, hopefully, for her. And yes, all of us are in that kind of a stage. And I'm so grateful, Nasreen, that you have given your 10, 15 years towards this. World is obviously going to be better with the knowledge that you will be sharing now, at least with this limited group that's committed at this point of time. And we will pick on your ideas. And certainly there's a big mantle pushed on to Prasanna. And he actually rose to the occasion in the last 2 weeks, like a charge of the Light Brigade. I don't know from where he got the energy, but he did. And he did a wonderful job with me in the afternoon today. This is the first time I ever attended a Sudarshan's program till midnight. Obviously, there's a personal self involved in the whole process, because, what can't be cured has to be endured. And I have enough of trauma of my own with my mom, and I've been thinking all through. So that's the reason why I kept my mouth shut. Thank you very much. I feel very, very blessed that I've been with this. And I did go out a couple of times to drink a cup of tea and nothing more than that, because it's past 1 p.m. now, 1 a.m. now.
1
Thank you.
a.m. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
thank you.
my, yes. We
Yeah, we
forgot
need
the
to-
time difference. Sorry about that.
No, that's
We-
all right. That's all right.
It was so involved, we crossed our time boundaries also.
True.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
Nasreen ji, I shared with you the syllabus which is offered by Usmania University, which is also offered by Rajeshwari's
Telangana.
department. Yeah, Telangana University. You can have a look at it, and maybe we will form a small group and keep sharing this learning with others also in LL group, so that Kantarauji, Venkatrao sir, and Saraswati ma'am, and Sudarshan could also contribute. Krishna Mohanji, can I have your number? Can you share it in the group?
You
here?
can put in the
Yeah,
chat.
in the group.
Yeah, you can put
Yeah.
it in the chat box.
Sure.
If Dr. Sudarshan and Dr. Kantarao can welcome, we might as well have Dr. Nasreen Rustum from Tata Institute and also Krishna Mohan as members of the lifelong learning group of ours.
Yes.
Yeah, Krishna Mohan has already been invited.
Wonderful.
He's already there.
So we can
Wonderful.
invite Dr. Nasreen also to this group.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you.
So a little bit
Saras had
about
mentioned it to me some time ago, actually. More than 6 months ago, I think Saras mentioned.
That's good. That's good.
We'll be
just
happy,
to
ma'am,
give a
to see
little
you in this
introduction
group.
of this group, we have started, I think, more than 2 years ago. This is a lifelong learning group, and we have basically social workers who graduated from College of Social Work, majority of them, and we find like-minded people who are interested in learning or continuing their lifelong learning. So we thought, it's better to have a forum to share our experiences and our knowledge and what we have gone through in our professional lives. So that would not only reconnecting with our alma mater, but also sharing our experiences. So building a community, that's the purpose of this group. And every month we hold a session. And sometimes we've gone a couple of months we didn't have, but mostly we do for a month, every month a session. And we invite one speaker or two speakers, but this time we have done a panel. I really appreciate Dr. Kantarao taking initiative and doing it. I am situated in the US, so I teach at an university. And so for the past, this year has been a very hectic schedule for me, a lot of responsibility moving around. So right now I'm attending a conference on social work education in the US. So I'm one of the members on the Educational Commission. So I'm at the conference, but still I will pull out some time and then join this. So it's a very interesting topic, and geriatrics gerontology is also my area of interest. Though initially it was not, but when I came to US, I received a geriatric fellowship, which was very competitive fellowship in 2008. I finished it, and I have well-grounded in the gerontology area, and I do have some research interest. I pursue them. So it's a very close topic to me, and I'm passionate about this area too. So whatever I can contribute in your efforts to build this initiative, Prasanna, and I would be doing that. So thank you for coming up with this panel. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you
Bye,
so much.
Nasreen. I will talk to you
Bye.
again.
Yeah.
Bye.
Namaskar.
Thank
Thank you so much. Namaskar.
Thank
Thank you,
you,
Dr.
everybody.
Nasreen.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.